The following is another point 0.5 episode of TMI, and this is where we take an older episode, pull out the secondary feature, and free it from its sometimes restrictive primary feature. In this case, we are showcasing The Big Lebowski, which we covered in episode 58 with Detective Pikachu. So Lebowski is finally free of the chains of Pikachu, and as they say, the dude abides.
TMI. Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerfherder Chandler and Jim Kaiju Baker.
Where I figured we had to get a cup of coffee after Pokemon was talking about.
I went right for a White Russian.
So speaking of White Russians, let's get into our classic feature.
And this was Mike's choice.
Mike's choice, who had never seen it before.
No, this was a call out. It had me. Thor had me thinking about it.
That's great, though.
I passed a bar in Iceland at one point called the Lebowskis.
Really?
Yeah, and where their specialty is White Russians, and I put the two together and said, "Let's review that."
Let's go.
Now, did it give you your fat Thor fix?
It did. You totally get the connection.
Yeah, the Chris Hemsworth performance in Endgame is a tribute to Jeff Bridges here, I believe. You know, even down to the clothes, down to the dirty old sweater that he's got on.
Dude.
Now, Jeff, have you seen this theatrically?
I made mention last week that I've maybe seen it once or twice, but in watching it again, I realized I have seen it more than once because there were certain scenes that I knew dialogue from. There were other scenes I don't remember at all, but yes, I have seen this.
Now, this is the type of movie that just improves every time you see it. I think you appreciate it more.
That seems to be the rumor.
And that's why I think there's just such a cult that has grown up around this thing.
Which is crazy. This thing bombed when it first came out.
It did. And I remember seeing it in the theater when it had first come out. Fargo had come out before this. So that really...
Right, so this was like the Coen-brothers follow-up.
Yes.
And Fargo was so universally loved. Although when I saw Fargo, the people I went with actually got up and walked out of the theater. I have never seen a movie with those people again.
Did you stay or did you have to leave with them?
Oh, no, I stayed.
Okay.
I don't leave a theater. Sorry.
Unless it's Aquaman, then I leave.
So, I remember seeing Big Lebowski on the strength of Fargo because loved Fargo, of course. Who didn't? Well, your friends, Jeff. And I remember it was an almost empty theater, except for one couple that had brought their 7 or 8-ish-year-old son with them. And they didn't leave. They sat and watched the whole thing. Now, I was doing some research into The Big Lebowski. More F-bombs are dropped in this movie than in Scarface. 292 total F-bombs. That's an average of 2 F-bombs per minute of watching.
Come on, man. There's got to be at least that many mans or dudes in there.
So there's this kid sitting behind us in this movie, and that's just overshadowing me.
You're actually cringing.
I'm uncomfortable. Every time there's an F-bomb dropped, this kid is sitting here hearing it. The parents don't seem to care. And there's that one scene where they go to Jackie Treehorn's porn party. And the naked girl, they're throwing her up in the air in slow motion, coming back down again. The kid was laughing uncontrollably during this scene.
Well, he's like, it's milk time. He's like, fuck.
And I'm just like, what is going on here? I'm like stepped into an alternate reality. So it just heightened the movie going experience for me. And I really liked it coming out of that theater. The like turned to love as I watched it in subsequent years. It's a noirish type heist movie at its heart, but it's really... the whole thing is the dude. It doesn't matter what the plot is. The movie
it's inconsequential, really.
The story, it doesn't matter. As long as
because
Jeff Bridges...
nothing really happens at the end of the day.
The movie depends on Jeff Bridges' reaction to the events going on around him. And that's what makes this movie, is him. It's
his duditude.
Apparently, this is inspired by a real person by the name of Jeff Dowd, who is a movie producer that the Coens came across. And this guy actually had some stories that coincided with events in the movie. The whole thing of where the dude gets his car stolen because this guy got his car stolen, found some kid's homework in the car, traced it back to the kid's house, and his friend went with him, acting like a lawyer, just like
they do in the movie. That's pretty
just
funny.
like Walter does, yeah.
Just like John Goodman does, with evidence in Ziploc bags. That's what they did.
Yeah, I guess maybe I need to watch it a couple more times.
Well, you didn't like it as much?
I'm not saying I didn't like it. I find it weird that it's got this huge I mean, Mike just said that there's a bar named after it in Iceland. There's a festival, Lebowski Fest, and it's like in its 20th year. There's a religion around this. There's 450,000 Dudas priests. I had their first album, Dudas Priest.
That's more than there are Catholic priests.
Right? They all converted. They went over to Dudism. I'm going to say that I assume that watching this enhanced, if you know what I'm getting at, probably increases your enjoyment of this significantly.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure it does.
But since Mike has never seen it, I want to know what his take is.
You called it a heist movie, and I was thinking, it could be that. It could be mistaken identity, and it was just overwrought with complexity, so you have to, throw yourself into the character. And that's kind of what I did, right? Because it's otherwise you're like, what in the hell is happening here?
Yeah, that's what the dude is experiencing, because he's thrust this very simple character with a very simple outlook on life is put in the middle of this complex plot that he's tasked with figuring out, and he can't do it. It's just like he can't keep up with what's going on screen. I did
read a review, and they said it's a quest to avenge a soiled rug is basically the heart of the movie. And that's what it is. That's his only motivation.
Because why? Because it ties the room together.
That rug really tied the room together. I mean, I get it. There's ridiculous quotables in his. And you said that the F-bomb is dropped, but he says man like every other word. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's like your opinion, man. There's a scene early on where he goes into he just lives on these White Russians, and he writes a check for 69 cents. But it was post-dated. If you go back and watch, when this movie was released, he had to post-date it. And there's some cool, dream sequences. There's that whole and the camera work where it's coming to the perspective of the bowling ball. There's fun stuff like that. Julianne Moore this is probably her craziest and nakedest thing I've ever seen.
Oh no, I don't think you've never seen Shortcuts.
Shortcuts.
I think it's in her contract to appear naked. I think, or at least it was in the 90s. Yeah.
I might have to check
or it's a given. She'll turn up and she'll be naked.
And it's funny too because the guy who actually plays the Big Lebowski, it's not, the name of the movie is not Jeff Bridges' character. It's the other Lebowski that he gets confused with. And I said that guy just looks familiar, and his name is David Huddleston. So the only thing I came away with is that he played the grandfather on Wonder Years, and I'm like, that's not where I probably would have remembered him. But he plays Olsen Johnson in Blazing Saddles.
Oh, okay.
One of the Johnsons with the orange roofs, But otherwise, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Was this
and his character seems to be a dead ringer for Lebowski, almost so that you think, is that Philip Seymour Hoffman in makeup when you see the Lebowski wheelchair? And he is just his maniacal laughter, especially when the character of Bunny offers to perform a service for Lebowski.
Yes.
And the embarrassed laughter that erupts out of Philip Seymour Hoffman. He has to deal with this woman on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, she's crazy. Come on, move on. Dan Goodman kills it in this movie.
John Goodman.
I'm sorry. Oh, I wrote Dan Goodman. Yeah, because he plays Dan Connor on.
He is. His character's based on John Milius, who directed Conan the Barbarian. And if you listen to the director's commentary of Conan the Barbarian, you completely get the correlation between the character of Walter and John Milius, the director.
Well, I will tell you that Walter hit a little too close to home because he reminded me way too much of my brother. That was the way my brother was and the way he acted. I will say that Buscemi was completely wasted in this role.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
An early role, I might add, for Buscemi, I think.
But he was still coming off Fargo. Yeah. And it was just like he had nothing to do. He was just a punching bag for Walter. and then to just have a heart attack at the end. I don't think he had more than 2 lines of dialogue.
But it was a nice scene at the end when they cremated him and it all blew back in.
Yeah, it blew back in her face. There is a lot of funny stuff that goes on here.
And a lot of subtle stuff.
That's what I understand. My understanding is that every time you see it, you pick up on something else, another nuanced line of dialogue or something that just
like just something as small as when Walter and the dude go back to get their car, actually to give that kid his homework, saying, "We know that you're the one that took the car. Where's our briefcase?" Then Walter going outside, smashing up the brand new sports car.
Right, only to find out that
it's the neighbor's car.
Right.
The neighbor comes out and destroys the dude's car. They're driving back, and you see no windshield and just the wind blowing the dude's hair as they're driving, and it's silence, but it's so funny at the same time.
Yeah, because Walter's just completely, it doesn't matter. Like Walter just lives in his own world.
Like this doesn't affect him. It's the dude's life that he's screwing up, and every time he screws up one of these things, he just wants to go bowling. The drop off is a classic example.
But that's funny because you never see the dude bowling.
No, you don't.
Right?
No, you don't. That's right.
I think maybe he's helping in that one dream sequence. Julianne Moore's character, he's helping her, but yeah, you never actually see him bowl.
No. And I love the one thing that's always stuck with me is when they find the dude's car and he goes to the lot to get it back, and he's talking to the police officer, and he asks the police officer, "So man, you got any leads?" And the guy just erupts.
Leads, right? Yeah.
No, we're working double shifts and all of this.
Yeah. It always makes me think, geez, I wish I never get my car stolen, because nobody's ever going to find out who did it. Yeah.
And we didn't talk about Sam Elliott, man. I'm telling you right now, that mustache needs its own screen credit. I just got lost in that every time he was on. I'm like, that is the most luscious mustache I've ever witnessed in my life.
We should really watch Roadhouse. If you guys have never seen Roadhouse.
That's one of my brother-in-law's favorite movies.
Of course it is.
So just talking about Sam Elliott, that's where he really shines.
But he's got that voice,
Yeah, yes, he does.
And he just kind of rambles into the beginning of the movie, and he comes out at the end.
Yeah, he was brought into it just to be the audience's
narrator.
Point of view. Yeah, so he's kind of looking at all this from afar.
Yeah, and basically, everything you've seen makes no sense.
It is.
Jesus, the character of Jesus, again, a throwaway character, but John Turturro just makes it his own.
And he only has maybe a minute total of screen.
I'm gonna say, he really just kind of
But he's
there's a joke where he says Jesus, and then it cuts to him with his name Jesus on it. He's like, yes, and he's got the But I guess he came up with all the little dance things.
Then, of course, you hear Hotel California in Spanish in the background. Yeah. Classic movie. Did not do well. It did not do well when it was released. I
think a lot of cult movies are like that, though, where they just kind of take on a life of their own. I mean, this is probably on video and HBO and all this other stuff. But to me, from what I understand, it almost borders on Rocky Horror level, multi-viewing, mass audience, late night camaraderie watching this and
shouting out dialogue.
Probably.
One of my favorite scenes in here is when, towards the end, when the dude and Walter go to visit the Big Lebowski at his mansion, once they've kind of figured everything out, that Bunny didn't even kidnap herself. She just left town for a couple of days.
Right, yeah.
Her nihilist friends took advantage of the situation, going as far as one of them, Amy Mann from Till Tuesday, I may add.
But I did not realize that's who that was.
Cutting off her own toe to make,
which was very Tarantino. Yeah. I got the very Quentin Tarantino, the whole zoom in on her foot, and you see it in bandages.
And Walter he knew what was going on from the beginning.
Well, that's not her toe.
But when they go to Lebowski's house and they're confronting him, and he
picks him up and throws him, and he just lays on the ground.
He's moaning on the ground.
See, now I almost feel like I have to go back and rewatch this.
I think they should make a T-shirt with "This guy walks" on the. So,
I'm sure you name it, it's out there.
So yeah, it was made for $15 million. It made 62, so it did make back its budget, but it didn't do Fargo numbers, so it was seen as a disappointment at the time. Charlize Theron tried out for the part of Bunny, which was given to Tara Reid, who later went on to fame from
Motion?
American Pie.
No, American Pie, but
yes.
The other one was in American Beauty. Not Tara Reid, but I don't remember what the other girl's name was. Wow.
You can edit that in later.
So yeah, I loved watching this again. If we're talking buckets, if we're ready to give it buckets at this point, I would go 4.5. I would just shy of 5 buckets. It just puts a smile on my face every time I watch this.
Fair, that's fair.
I'd go. You know what? It's a movie that would do with a rewatch. I'm with Jeff on this one. I'd probably go 3.5, and I think that I would like it more the more times I watched it.
Maybe we should review this once a year or every 6 months. And then every year our buckets will keep going up. I'm going to go 3.5 as well. I did enjoy it. Again, it probably requires multiple viewings for me to.
I do remember at the bar in Iceland, the Lebowski bar, that they actually had a green toe was one of the drinks.
Oh, was it floating in your? Oh, yeah.
And let me also, a little fun fact, the coffee house where the Walter and the dude are talking about said toe, that is a real location in Los Angeles. It's not a real coffee house. It's a vacant building that they only use for movie diner sets.
Oh.
So
it just sits there vacant until
somebody else films a movie that needs a diner set.
It's pretty bizarre.
Countless movies that I was just going
to say, what is some of the other movies that have filmed?
Some of the other movies, Gone in 60 Seconds is the one that sticks out for some reason. American History X was another one. It just looks like and even the angle that they shoot Walter and the dude at, it just looks very familiar, and that's probably why I've seen the same shot in the same building from other movies.
Yeah, it seems familiar.
So those are the only two I can remember offhand, but there was a very long list of other films that were filmed in that location. So I just thought that was cool. So there we go. So that actually leads us to our confessional this week.
Confessionals.
Because the Coen brothers have had so many great movies and some that you forget about, because this confessional made me really reassess what they've done.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget some of these movies. There's so many of them that are out there.
And I will say they're very much an acquired taste. You either get them or you don't. Like I said, Fargo had its audience. This one didn't really, but there's some other ones out there.
So the question is, what is your favorite Coen brothers movie? And I'm going to go first because it's so obvious. It is The Big Lebowski for me. Is far and away my favorite Coen brothers movie.
I think this is an acquired taste, these Coen brothers. I mean, I had to think about it, and I was like, and then I had to look it up, and I'm like, I'll go with Bridge of Spies.
Oh,
and I'm not, and it doesn't even sort of fit the Coen brothers, which means the one that I like the most is probably the least
Coen-ish.
Right?
Is that a Coen brothers? I wasn't even
Joel Coen. I think
putting that on my radar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that's really heavy.
Yeah, it was written by Joel Coen.
Okay.
Right. So you're right. So I have not selected. I don't have.
No, that would count.
I would think so, because they wrote a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Between Joel and Ethan.
Now, was that directed by Spielberg? Am I mistaken?
It was
Spielberg. Okay. That's the Tom Hanks.
That is.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Return Gary Powers movie.
There you go. I didn't even have to think about this. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
That is a good one as well.
My absolute favorite. As a kid growing up, I mean, in high school, we were forced to read the Iliad and the Odyssey. And of course, in high school, my shortcomings as a student, I overcame by just drawing pictures of everything for my projects. In the Odyssey, I was obsessed with all the creatures that Ulysses was encountering. And this is based on Homer's Odyssey. If you go back through and you watch this movie, they encounter all these different creatures, whether the sirens or the Cyclops, which is played by Dan Goodman.
John Goodman. With an eye patch.
But it's just, to me, and my wife actually said this one day, she goes, this is my favorite George Clooney movie because he's actually acting. And it made me think, really, this is the only movie I can think of where he's not just playing George Clooney. He's actually a character. And the soundtrack is phenomenal. The Soggy Bottom Boys, I love it. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Turturro in this one is also great. He's like a secret weapon in all these Coen brother movies.
Right.
Yeah. Turns into a frog.
Good choice.
Yes. He's a bona fide. There you go. That's something to look forward to.
All right, pika pika, gentlemen.
Oh, there's a snake in my boot.
If you like what you just heard, be sure to follow TMI Confessionals of the Nerd Kind on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, or whatever you listen to your podcasts on. Also, be sure to email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on all of our socials. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads. Just go to tmiconfessionalspodcast.com. All of our links are there. And leave us a 5-star review. See you at the concession stand.